Hey everyone, this is Mike from the Comic Book Trove, back today with another Omnibus review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at something which has arrived a little bit earlier than expected, which has come as a very nice surprise. I've got here the Spider-Verse and Spider-Geddon Omnibus, which I've got to say, is something I've been really looking forward to getting my hands on as a big Spider-Man fan. This is something that I had a lot of time reading when I did go through this material the first time round. Looking forward to diving back in and giving it another read through now that I've got it here in the Omnibus. And today we're going to be taking a look at this and just kind of giving a bit of an overview and discussion of what's collected in this book. So first and foremost, we've got the dust jacket here. This is the standard variant cover. There are a couple of cover options, but this is the standard cover by Olivier Koeppel. Really nice there. I like the kind of action scene with a few of the various Spidey people that we see featuring in these stories. The spine, really nice with that kind of dark red kind of thing going on, and we've got an image of Spidey down there at the bottom. If you get the DM variant, I'm pretty sure it's Miles, an image of Miles Morales that's down there on the spine. But then on the back, again, more kind of Spider variants. You get a bit of blurb there at the top, Arachnomania, I like that. And then the contents are here in the middle as well. If you want to pause and take a look at what's in here, feel free to do that there. But a lot of material in this book. It's pretty thick, got to say. It's one of the bigger Marvel Omnibus, I think, all in all. Really nice wraparound image on the hardcover here, though. Just show that off quickly. Again, similar idea with a lot of the kind of Spider people. So we've got Peter Parker, Miles, Scarlet Spider, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man 2099. Yeah, loads of different versions of Spider-Man, basically, that feature in this book, and that's really the premise of the whole thing. So, for anyone unaware, Spider-Verse is the original event from 2015, and it came during Dan Slott's run writing Amazing Spider-Man, or just Spider-Man in general, I guess, because Dan Slott wrote Superior Spider-Man as well. So this came in 2015, and then the 2018 sequel event, Spider-Geddon, which is pretty much a direct sequel that follows on from it. And as we open the book here, we get this, not so much a contents page, or, well, it is a contents page, but not with page numbers, but it does break down every kind of story arc that's in here, as well as giving you the creators, and of course showing you the reading order in which it's presented. And it is presented in a good reading order as well, so all is going to flow very nicely as you read through this book. So first page you get the Spider-Verse event, then this next page the Spider-Geddon. I like how that breaks that down into a couple of different pages. And then you jump right in, starting here. And yeah, so what this really is, spoiler warning, I suppose, before we go any further. Should probably give that, as I always like to do, just in case you've never read this, because I'll cover a few basic details here. But yeah, so this is a story in which this group of kind of dimension-hopping super beings called the Inheritors, they were almost like these kind of vampire type things, are tracking down Spider-Men, Spider-Women, Spider-Everything, all over the multiverse. They refer to them as Spider Totems, and they basically sort of feed on the life force and kill them, essentially. And they're tracking them down. So what we see over the course of this story are a lot of different Spider variants introduced. We see loads and loads of different versions of Spider-Man. If you are a Spider-Man fan and never thought to yourself anything along the lines of, wouldn't it be cool to see what other kinds of Spider people there could be, this is absolutely the book for you. And of course, this was adapted into the animated film Into the Spider-Verse a few years ago, which was a great movie. I took a lot of inspiration from this. But this, it's much bigger. It's on a much bigger scale with many more characters in the comic than in that film. So you get a lot of the characters that you probably know, things like Spider-Man Noir we see here, Spider-Gwen, of course, probably the most famous and notable character to come out of this event, because she ended up spinning right out into her own solo series. But it was during this time that she first appeared. We start to get pages like this that introduce all the characters and kind of give you a proper introduction to them all. So we've got like the six-armed Spider-Man, which is a nice throwback to Amazing Spider-Man issue 100. Spider-Man India, Spider-Man Noir, the Superior Spider-Man's in here, Spider-Monkey, just loads and loads of different stuff. If you can think of it, chances are it kind of appears at some point during all this, even if only briefly. But yeah, so you start to get these the different Spider variant people teaming up, coming together to face this common threat that is these Inheritors, and it ends up being very much a kind of dimension-hopping story. You get a few issues of the 2014 Amazing Spider-Man issue series by Dan Slott collected in here. which is the run of issues which introduced Silk, Cindy Moon, and she ends up being, you know, brought into it as well. She is, of course, a Spider-Woman of her own. And you get a lot of different art styles as well. So we've got, you know, loads of different artists that create these different kind of dimensions, these different worlds and realities in which all these different characters inhabit. Here's a great page to return onto, Age of Spider-Verse issue 2, that very first Spider-Gwen story. This particular story is collected in the Spider-Gwen Omnibus, but the rest of what's in here is not in there, because that Spider-Gwen series all takes place after this event. But yeah, this is where she first appeared. And like I say, it became kind of an instant hit. There are some extras kind of scattered throughout the book here, so you get different variant covers kind of periodically as you flick through the book, rather than everything being thrown in at the end, which is a fine way to do it. You know, I'm totally cool with that. But yeah, so this is it was just a lot of fun, really. You know, the basic idea of being introduced to all these different versions of Peter Parker and all that. I mean, this is a particular dark story here. You know, it's worth pointing out that not all of the spider people that we meet are good guys. They didn't all decide to become heroes when they were bitten by the radioactive spider. This is maybe the best and for me one of the most memorable examples of that, with this version of Peter, who basically turns into a monster, starts killing people. Yeah, pretty creepy. So yeah. Yeah, there's just loads of different stuff going on. What can I say? It's a really fun event. Really do recommend this. It's a great way to read it all as well in this omnibus. It's long awaited. I feel like I had this one pre-ordered for a long time. After all, you know, these Marvel Omnibuses now pretty much all seem to get delayed. Can be a little frustrating, but you know, better late than never. As long as we get our hands on them eventually, it's all good with me. This cover here, though, really nice, is the actually the DM variant cover for the omnibus. Gotta say, it's maybe slightly better than the standard variant. I don't know. Part of me kind of wishes I'd gone with that one. But at the end of the day, you can't really go wrong with either choice, I don't think. So, as the story proceeds, you start to get Peter Parker and Miles Morales kind of at the centre of things, sort of leading the resistance force, so to speak, of all the different spider people. Spider-Punk, we see here, is another cool one. And yeah, they end up trying to take the fight to the Inheritors, really, in the end, and they kind of find their home base. And it all ends up, as you can imagine, in a pretty big showdown. But you're getting a wide variety of art in here, so, you know, you might not like every style, but, you know, I'm sure you'll find something to enjoy somewhere throughout the book. Loads of different mini-series that make this up. It's really cool, because this basically all starts splitting off into teams, of, you know, groups of sort of 3 or 4. And that then runs through a different mini-series where you follow these teams as they go on their different specific missions. Really cool stuff here, drawn in the style of the kind of classic 60s animated Spider-Man cartoon. It's just a lot of fun, like I say. It's the best way to summarise it, really. Jessica Drew here, Spider-Woman, like I say, and Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara. Really cool thing about those issues actually collected in here is that I think that series was actually written by Peter David with some art by Rick Leonardi as well, who of course were the original creative team behind Spider-Man 2099 when that first launched in the 90s. Yeah, nice bit of trivia. I like that they came back to do that. But yeah, so it all kind of ends, Spider-Verse ends with the good guys kind of seemingly winning the day, getting the upper hand against Morlun and his Inheritors. But of course, we then move into Spider-Geddon. And what's a really cool inclusion here is the Spider-Man from the PS4/PS5 game as well. Even gets brought into this. So if you played that game, yeah, you get that version of Spider-Man and MJ and everything making an appearance in here, getting brought into the Spider-Geddon event, which is fun. At this point, Doc Ock is the superior octopus. Got a couple of pages sort of sticking together a little bit, but yeah, not an issue. Yeah, so this is like the second half of the omnibus. It is pretty much split half and half between Spider-Verse and Spider-Geddon. And really, Spider-Geddon is kind of more of the same. So if you enjoyed Spider-Verse, I don't see why you wouldn't like Spider-Geddon. very much just, you know, like I say, more, a lot of the familiar characters coming back for round 2, so to speak. And we get the, you know, they took the opportunity to introduce some new variants as well, so we get some new Spider-Men, Spider-Women, Spider-Everything, as I say, you know, running out of ways to kind of describe it, but basically you get some really cool stuff, and a lot of nice covers like this as well. I love the ones that sort of feature all the different characters in dramatic action poses like that. Yeah, what can I say? It's a fun book, and like I said, the reading order it's collected in really works well. You know, it's not a case of just throwing together the main series and then the tie-ins kind of afterwards. I know some people have a bit of an issue with that. I would say, from what I've seen, flicking through this book, looking at the contents, it all seems to be in the right sort of place. Spider-Ham. Classic stuff now. You know, no issues with the binding or anything like that. You know, I don't tend to bring up binding very often in my videos unless there is a problem with it. But yeah, all good. No issues so far, having flicked through it and stretched the spine a little bit. But what do you think? You know, as I always do like to hear the thoughts, what people think of Spider-Verse and Spider-Geddon, of this material, if you've ever read it before. Always interested to hear the thoughts of others, whether this is an omnibus you're planning on picking up maybe. You know, it is tricky. There's obviously a load of, Marvel in particular, just releasing so many different omnibuses these days, you know. If you're anything like me, I know that I need to kind of be quite selective nowadays about which books I pick up. Unfortunately, can't get all of them. But this was certainly one I didn't want to miss out on. Like I say, as a big Spider-Man fan, this is one that I definitely felt I had to have in my collection. And something that's definitely recommended for other Spidey fans out there if you've never checked it out. In the back, we get some extras here, like a handbook giving you some further information on the characters in here and kind of what's going on with the status quo of things at the time of these events. So that's pretty interesting to have a flick through. There's a bit of additional reading if you're interested. Quite a fair amount of that in here, and then some more variants at the end with these kind of extra stuff. So like I say, there are some of these scattered throughout the book, so it isn't all in the back here. But there are a few thrown in at the back as well. But yeah, that's your Spider-Verse and Spider-Geddon omnibus. Really cool to finally have this one. Like I say, long awaited. But yeah, thanks as always for sticking with me and going through this. If you followed all the way through, appreciate that as always. And yeah, do let me know what you think about this particular event and this omnibus. And I will be back again soon to discuss something else.